Okay, I'm going to ask you a question about George Soros. Okay, I don't know how you feel about George Soros, but I'm curious to know what you're going to say about him. So with all the protests that are going on in different colleges, okay, here's some numbers that came out. Columbia University, more than 100 protests and arrests. Yale, over 50 arrests, okay? Princeton, 2 students, graduate students arrested. Harvard told students not to come back. I think they closed it down throughout the weekend. Friday, students have been protesting and setting up tents. In Northwestern University, George Washington University, UCLA, hundreds of students setting up tents at the school. Then you have police arrest 100 people at Northeastern University in Boston, Indiana University, Ohio University, 30 students arrested. Emory University, 28 students arrested. Emerson College, over 100 people arrested. USC, 93 demonstrators arrested. University of Texas, 50 protesters arrested. NYU, 100 students arrested and 20 professors arrested in NYU. Then an article comes out, I believe it's with New York Post. George Soros is paying left-wing activists to head up camp outs at college across country as huge wads of cash. They're getting paid. So then I'm looking at this article, and it shows Open Society Foundation records show Soros grant-making network gave $13.7 million of the money through Tides Center. Okay, and Tides Foundation has given millions to organizations who have organized pro-Palestinian protests, according to Capital Research Center, $650,000 to Jewish Voice for Peace, $710 to Adalah Justice Project, a pro-Palestinian group, another $86 to If Not Now, $38,000 to Progressive Center for Constitutional Rights, $600,000 to Mass Liberation Project, $132,000 to Westpac. This keeps going on. Society Foundation, Open Society Foundation gave $700,000 education for just peace in the Middle East since 2018. Rockefeller gave another $515,000. And then if you look at this now, U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights received Soros money and paid students, youth fellows. They received stipends of $28.80 to $33.60 for a 3-month term of roughly 8 hours a week and $7,800 for community-based fellows. 1, what do you think about Soros? 2, why would a Hungarian Jew support all of these protests, pro-Palestinian protests?
Well, if you remember what revolution who was created too, Soviet Revolution in 1917 was, in Marxist revolution, was actually created by a lot of, Jews, Marxists, from Europe. And, there's this Marxian ideologies, unfortunately, it's been very effective. And we should not underestimate that.
He's a billionaire, though. George Soros is a billionaire.
But listen, there is a lot of billionaires with agenda that believe that our country is not, what they want it to be. There are a lot of, if I look at what's happening in our country, I hate to tell you, we are moving closer to socialism and Marxism. In some ways, they're even worse than being in Soviet Union. Some of the things that I observed.
Somebody could say, how could you say that?
I'll tell you something, because I think what happened in college campuses, there was probably more freedom than and less intimidation during Soviet Union time, even to say that what's happened in our college is a pure intimidation. Wow. It's a pure intimidation.
You didn't have this kind of intimidation?
No, that was not even that. It wasn't really, this is a level of intimidation with violence that is truly Marxist view of that. Even like in all the times of Soviet Union, they didn't have as much aggression. That's maybe happened in 1917, after the revolution, they were try to intimidate everyone. That's how they try to instill this. But this is really class warfare, religious warfare, race warfare. It's truly Marxist 101. That's how you're going to destabilize the country from within. And that's how you're going to use this to propaganda. And it's becoming much more dangerous even now because there is so much data collection on people and access. You actually, for China right now or Russia to access us within the country to stabilize, they don't have to enter the country. They can do it from outside through bots, social media, through all of this organizing. And we still cannot protect privacy and data of Americans. I think this is Congress. I think this is our duty, and we're not doing that. And I think that's critical. But we have a lot of money, and I think Soros and Obama, they were brilliant to use money. to promote agenda and destabilize the country, because when you destabilize the country and turn into mob rule, which we're becoming into mob rule. I mean, listen, I always kind of say, I lived in mob rule as long as, I have lots of guns and ammunition. I survived that. I'm not sure if Americans want to have it, but I'm ready for it. I don't think we want to go there, but what's happening on the border, what cartels are doing in our country, what happened in our cities with fentanyl, which actually sold majority was by China and Mexican cartels, that pretty much control the border. We don't even have control of our own border. What is happening right now is all of the way we turn the country into mob rule. We try to put people against each other within, college campuses, and young people are very easy to brainwash. And now, it's unbelievable that you actually, I had some interns, Jewish interns from, in my office from colleges, they truly intimidated. They're afraid to be in college campuses. I mean, truly afraid. It's a coercion, intimidation into power, control, and in opinion. This is really done through very violent ways to do that.
What makes college deans and presidents, what makes them think this is a good idea to push the other side of students out who don't feel safe? What kind of a business model is that?
I think they're afraid. A lot of them are afraid.
Even the presidents are
I think
afraid.
a lot of them are afraid.
What are they afraid of?
They're afraid of very radical people. I mean, truly, it's interesting. I talked to some academia, one of the major colleges, that I actually know them, and we had a conversation actually, for its Jewish heritage, and I said, you've been tenured academia for such a long time. I mean, couldn't you do something about your administration and try to put pressure on them? And this is unbelievable that it's happening right now in the top institutions in our country. I mean, it's all and they said, well, we tried, they're not agreeing, and we were actually even offered to have a class on debating different opinions, and they're afraid. They're afraid to approve even courses where colleges should be like debates, deliberation of ideas. It's okay if you believe in Marxists and I believe in Friedman and Hayek and Smith. Let's just deliberate. Let's have healthy conversation. Don't intimidate and coerce me. And they're all afraid. So there are some of them, they're getting paid, by a lot of liberal money to promote agenda, because we have a lot of media now that paid by organizations through Soros to write hit pieces and articles. And I mean, I'm glad that Trump exists. Otherwise, they would be just writing about me. I'm joking, but they write so much crap about me. I hate that. But I think, Trump makes me feel better because no one is doing so much as to him, so he gets much more heat. But
you ever met him? Have you ever met him?
No, I haven't. I haven't met Soros. I haven't.
And amongst your colleagues and peers, how often does he come up, name-wise?
He comes up a lot, and I think, and I think he promote a lot of him, kind of getting with Obama people.
How many Congress people does he own?
Well, I don't know what he owns or not, but I think he pretty much owned radical wing of Democrat Party that took over that party. The big money, he owns them. I'll tell you, the big money, because a lot of these people, there are some Democrats probably would be normal people, but they're afraid of big money. I had some Democrats, honest Democrat, who says, Victoria, I cannot survive 5 million primary. And if you're going to go against the grain, you'll have a 5 million primary. Actually, facing similar things, so hopefully I can survive mine. But, you go against your party, you might have big money coming at you, and it's very difficult if you're an honest person, So some of these Democrats are intimidated. And then they try to elect, very radical people. So they were able to elect very radical people in their party. That's the majority of their party. And if anyone tried to go against it, they'll put big money.
So he funds the big radicals. He
funds the Democrat Party.
Does he find them, place them, or do they go in and then he sees how radical they are, then he funds them?
No. They place them. They primary. And if anyone is going to stick their neck out and actually say something that is not going to go in line or vote not in line, they will primary and take you out. And I actually know from one congressman, Democrat, because, he says that the only reason he survived is just because a lot of people knew him, but they're all go in line.
Do you think there's going to be a black swan event in 2024?
Listen, I think in some ways, I think
for election is what I'm asking about.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
But I think Republicans, we had time to regroup, okay? And I think we need to be smarter. We had time. So I hope Republicans and American people are waking up. So I think it will be hard, for Democrats to do what they did in 2020. But I think we can never underestimate our position and their desire at power, to take power at any cost and in any way. So we just have to get better. We just have to become smarter. And I hope we have a better people this year running, the campaigns and what's going to happen, because I've seen what they were doing in 2020.
I want to show you a clip, Rob. Can you pull up this clip of, the feds protesting and Nazi and all this stuff? I don't know if you saw this or not. So here's a clip. Rob, before we play, can you let her know who these people are?
This is the group Patriot Front, and they have been labeled a fascist and neo-Nazi hate organization.
So now go ahead and play this clip. You can't see their faces. They somehow, some way, all look in shape. They're all 6 feet tall. They look like they're extremely athletic, as if they do something else. Okay, no problem. Rob, go to the picture on the U-Haul they show up in and how they drop them off. And all of a sudden you see, if you zoom in a little bit, this is them back in 2022. They'll show up in U-Hauls like that with a mask so nobody can see them. If you want to show the other clip of the video of them being arrested, I'm sure you have that one as well. I think I sent that to you. You have it somewhere there. Watch this clip here. Okay, this is them supposedly getting arrested, and no cop there has asked them to take their masks off so you can see what they look like. Oh, for sure, no cop would ever ask it to show your face. Okay, all right. Let me read the tweet on what this Wall Street Spets guy said, if we can zoom out a little bit so I can read the details. This is supposedly a video of Patriot Front members being arrested. When do police unmask people in custody? When do police not unmask people in custody? Was this perhaps staged by the FBI and police giving street cred to Patriot Front? Who knows? The reason why I'm showing you this, today's date is what? What is today's date? April 29th. Do you know when George Floyd happened in 2020 election? It was May 25th of 2020. It was roughly 5 months and a week before election time. And then the temperature went up, and the rest was history, right? Now, if you have the video of what Blinken said, if you can play the video of what Blinken said, this is my concern, and I'm trying to see what you're going to say about this. This is, Blinken, go ahead.
We have seen, generally speaking, evidence of attempts to influence and arguably interfere, and we want to make sure that that's cut off as quickly as possible. Because you care. Of course you wouldn't want China to meddle. Of course, because we got to find somebody to blame. And then even Ray said the following. Ray is somebody you've gone up against before. I think you've gone against both of these guys. But here's Ray. Ray said the following, saying FBI Director Christopher Wray warns Chinese hackers lying in a way to attack U.S. infrastructure upon us now. So there's this thing called predictive programming where, they instill something in us for us to fear about a future thing coming up. A movie comes out called Civil War, okay, which is America being against each other. Another one came out with Barack Obama, a president funding a movie calling Leave the World Behind, which is quite weird that's going on. There's a sect in America that feels, just like you said earlier, Democrats, you got to give them credit because they're more clever than Republicans. They'll do anything at all costs to win, right? What's the likelihood of them all of a sudden telling us if chaos gets crazy, all these school universities, if it gets crazy, one student gets shot by a cop, 2, 3, say people show up, someone dies, and then all of a sudden you hear about, claiming civil unrest, okay? And this is what Tom and I were talking about earlier. And all these protesting leads to martial law, okay? Then seizing all guns. Then if they go to digital currency, do you think the American people have a valid concern to worry about how crazy shit could get the next 3 to 6 months? Or are you from the school of thought of saying, nah, you don't have anything to worry about, everything's going to be normal the next 6 months?
Oh, I don't think anything will be normal, but I'll tell you, we have too much guns and ammunition for them to pull that. I don't think they will be able to do something like what you say. They will try to destabilize. They use every crisis. Sometimes I would truly believe create these crises to promote the agenda. But I think, I still, when I look, this is like propaganda 101, what it's used. And Republicans just have to be smarter, okay? We know what they do. And at the same, you know what China is going to be doing. You know what Putin is going to be doing.
Republicans matter.
Well,
I don't think Republicans matter. Can I tell you why? Let me push back a little bit, and you can push back with me. Let me tell you why. Because RFK came out the other day saying right now we have the biggest independent base, 43%. I have Tulsi Gabbard on last week. We're having a conversation. Tulsi Gabbard is one of the folks that they're looking at as a possible VP for President Trump. And RFK, he's on the other side. So I don't think Republicans matter that much because Republicans, they have a civil war going on themselves. I think who matters is independents.
Sure.
For independents, they can easily be swayed. They were swayed by the Russia collusion.
That's right.
And you said something very interesting when you were talking to, I think the FBI. Yeah, you were talking to Christopher Wray when you said you guys were slow with Hillary, slow with Biden, slow with everything, but fast with January 6th and fast with Trump, right? Hey, we gotta go. Hey, we gotta go. Court. Why are you so slow with whatever happened with Hillary? Why are you so slow with everything with Hunter Biden? Why are you so slow with all this stuff, right? So talk to the independent. The independent can be swayed. The independent can be manipulated. The independent can say, oh, my God, look what's going on. Yes, we should vote for this. You don't worry about that?
Listen, and I completely know what they're doing, but I think American people are waking up. And I think a lot of these independent voters, this is a big part of my district. I have, suburban, highly educated voters. My district used to be in top 30 highest educated in the country, and only 3 of them, I believe, was held by Republicans, and most of them not by conservatives. So I understand the district. I'm a suburban mother. I understand how they manipulate suburban women, how they do it with suburban men and try to use it. But I think we just have to I think they're waking up and see what's happening. And people are not as stupid as they think. But I think Republicans need to do a better job. That's our responsibility to show. Because I don't think suburban women want this lawlessness. I don't think they want their kids on campuses to be intimidated.
They did in 2020.
I don't think but I think but I think in a lot of ways they were able to paint it like that's what Trump is created. But I think now they cannot say that it's created by Trump. What's created is by lawlessness that Biden is created, by open borders, by having people, pretty much be criminals on the streets, not enforcing the law, by anarchy that creating, by their schools and kids are not being taught and being trying to take control of their kids. I think a lot of the suburban voters are waking up and much more. And I think they cannot now blame it that that's because of Trump. So we have to do a much better job. I don't underestimate that they will try to use it to stabilize us. I don't underestimate that this is violence for them. It's a way to take control. But I don't think our voters are buying it as much as they think. That's why they're not polling as well. That's why they try to figure out something else. We just need to be better because I think American people are getting tired. And that suburban independent voters, highly educated, they understand that it starts coming home to them. It starts hurting their pockets. The inflation, the lawlessness, the criminal activity is becoming the open borders, is becoming, unfortunately, until people start feeling the pain, people are not waking up, but I think they're waking up. But we need to do a better job to make sure that we communicate to the voters.
When's the last time we had martial law? When's the last time we had martial law? Rob, can you look it up?
Yeah, you have.
So if we have martial law, you don't need martial law nationwide, right? You only need martial law in the states that matter, that you're voting for. So you can create chaos, structured in a certain sect or location and keep it peaceful other places. How many states do we need? It's not that many of them. Right?
Not many
really
counties.
District, that's counties, right? That we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's right.
So what if we create martial law in certain areas that all of a sudden certain people can't get out to vote? What if it gets that ugly? What if let's just play very dirty. Let's be deceptive and dark. Let's be the devil's advocate. Okay? Let's be that. You lived in Russia. You were born in Russia, right? Ukraine, Kiev, I was born in Iran. Guess what?
That's right.
We are experiencing, devil's advocate, what Khomeini did and what his people did to make Iran fall. What if these guys guys like Soros, they have a meeting and they say, let's put this much money to pay 2 groups of people to show up 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a month before election in specific counties and districts that voting matters the most. And you cause and paint a picture of civil unrest and potentially local civil war, let's just say. You can get the actors. There's plenty of actors to hire that'll take $2,800 for a week or whatever. People need money, right?
Sure.
If we do that and everywhere else seems peaceful, but those 3, 4, 5, 6 areas, absolute chaotic, martial law, people can't go to vote. Boom. Listen, well, we had a fair election. It's just these people on the other side that are the gun-owning people is just out of control. 3 people got shot. My job is to prevent people from dying. Boom. They win 2024 again. These are the types of things that no matter what we say, I think the American people are becoming aware. I agree. I do agree with you that more and more people are becoming aware of what's going on. I agree. I think more and more people are sitting there saying, what the F is going on here? What are they doing? We've never had this kind of hate. But never underestimate the power of Hollywood, movie making, manipulation with storytelling of how bad things are and how we have to shut it down for the safety of our kids, for the safety of our kids, for the safety of our kids, because one 7-year-old innocent poor kid, if this happens to, gets killed. And because of that, do you want your kids? That's why we have martial law. Do you want your kids? We want to protect your kids. We care about your kids, Victoria. We care about your kids. We're doing this for you. We would never do this for us to win the election. We're only doing it because we care about you. See how noble we are. That's why we're doing it, because we care about you and your kids. And then all of a sudden, the delusion of people are like, they're right. They care about my kids. See, that's the part. You lived in a place where a beautiful place turned into a shit show. I lived in a place where beautiful Iran under the Shah turned into a shit show. Now we both live in a country that people like you and I, who we can't run for president. You do it your way through Congress. I'm doing it my way through business. We both are kind of concerned to make sure this thing doesn't turn into a shit show. Because if America turns into a shit show, the rest of the world is going to be like that.
Screwed.
Yeah.
Everyone is screwed.
Yeah. So, I appreciate you for coming down. I'll give you the final thoughts before we wrap up. For the audience watching this, I like the fact that even no matter what we talk about, I'm naturally very optimistic. I'm all about future looks bright. But I have 2 sides to my head. I got 2 guys sitting here, okay, just to kind of paint a picture to you. It's not the devil and the angel. For me, it's more the guy that's like, everything's going to be fine, future looks bright. And I have this other guy that's super paranoid. Hey, man, you better watch those guys. Be careful what they're going to do. So I'm always dealing with these 2 characters that are in my ear talking to me, right? For yourself, do you believe the future looks bright?
Listen, I truly believe in this republic. And when I go see people on the ground, I understand that people are not that stupid as they think. They have an ability to do things. And they've been doing a lot of things to brainwash people. Yeah. But I'll tell you, they're not as brilliant as we think. We've just been stupid, and we just have to be smarter. We know how they do this one-on-one stuff, okay? We know what they potentially could do, but it's a problematic a little bit. What even you said, they need to figure out how they can get out there more voters than they need. They don't really want to suppress as much voting. They need to see how they can, this voting by mail and other things. So it's a problematic, right? So we know where they can potentially cause problems. So we have to be proactive. We have to, if the risk exists and assess the risk, and they're using it, like the roadmap is very, it's like I was saying, like FBI. I said, you guys are very smart, you make sure that every FBI agent has amnesia. So if you ever come FBI, it says, yeah. I don't recall and I don't record. As long as you don't record and don't recall, so we need to look at their roadmap and where things are going to happen. And there are going to be just a few states, that matter. I hate to say, they're going to be just few counties, because most counties that controls by Republicans, most of them are not going to go, and do something like Democrat counties that they were going to do whatever it takes to win election. Yeah. We're actually pretty honest people, most of them. I mean, we have some bad people in our party, don't get me wrong, but generally people don't run that or power at any cost. So they will look at some of these Democrat-run counties, look at the legal framework and how they can abuse the system. And what can they do before and during the election? Well, we can do the same. We're actually brilliant. We're entrepreneur. We actually innovators. I mean, we can look at things and we know what they're going to do. And if we are not stupid, we're going to think through things, what is going to happen and how we can be more proactive. We just have to be more proactive. And we haven't been as a party. So I have been pushing on my own party. And I don't know, we have new people in RNC. I'm very disappointed how my party is doing. I think, our party needs to be better. But I also truly, when I go and talk to normal Americans are tired of this BS. Americans have seen that their government is not serving them. Americans do not want to live under tyrannical government. I think people have been stressed out. We have to do a better job educated people. And I'm the only politician who does town halls in my district in Indiana, the whole state, because I want to have an honest conversation. And when I have honest conversation with American people, even the ones who don't disagree, who disagree, disagree,
yes,
they actually appreciate that. We have to have some common sense. I truly believe that if we have so much innovation and so much things on the ground, but I also think that this innovation with now with having podcasts like yours, having ability to communicate directly through social media, not just propaganda on TV, gives us enormous opportunity to bring information to our voters. And that is honestly becoming the only way sometimes, because everything is paid to say BS and lies, and propaganda. So you have this honest conversation. So I appreciate for people like you that exist, because at least, maybe people agree, maybe disagree, but at least they can hear the truth, because when people hear the truth, they can put pressure, and I think that is a challenge. The only challenge I see, the bigger challenge I see, how do we educate young people? How do we educate what is the core of our republic? Because people like you and me, grew up under tyrannical government. I think we would fix, if you and me could be president, we would fix the things quickly. just because we know what at stake and we cannot be easily brainwashed. We see where the lies come and who is telling, how can we teach our children too, in the future generations of Americans, for them not to believe propaganda, which is going to be even harder now, because so much to really be independent thinker and really be proactive and understand that we are the greatest republic because we have the most freedom. And where your government have to protect your rights to life, liberty, and property, and stay the hell out of your way. That is what is really unite us. We have very different backgrounds and religions and, and countries with heritages, but that is what is make us an American, because we believe in fundamental and of our country. That was make our country great. And I hope, and it is probably my job and, also as a politician to do more of that. Unfortunately, we're too busy, but I'll try to spend as much time as I can to do more of that, especially with younger people.
Fantastic. Listen, keep fighting the fight. It's great to have you on. I know it's going to be wild the next 6 months. I think you're going to be very busy the next 6 months. You're going to have a lot of things to do. But Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, it's great to have you on. Appreciate you.